Well, hello there. It's Crazy Cheap Chick. And last night I made spaghetti. Now, let's face it, spaghetti can be so boring. You just boil some spaghetti and pour some jarred sauce on it. And, well, it's so easy to make your own sauce and it tastes so much better. And I also made a bruschetta, and that's so simple to make, and your family's gonna love it. So let's get cooking. I'm starting with a chopped onion, and some of this I'm going to put in, I'm going to make a bruschetta. So some of that I'm going to put in a separate dish for bruschetta. Don't need very much. And the rest of this I'm going to saute for the spaghetti sauce. This is some fresh basil I just picked out of the garden. I don't think we'll probably need this much, but we'll chop what we need. I think that's plenty. We're going to chop up some garden tomatoes. That was about 4 tomatoes. They're different kinds of tomatoes. I have one variety I'm growing that grows really dark. We've got our onion and our basil and tomatoes. And now we're going to season it. Then for our bruschetta, it's just olive oil. And you don't want it super wet because it's going on bread. You don't want it to soak through. And balsamic vinegar. Just a little bit. You can really overdo it on the vinegar, you know. If you're not confident, measure it out. Do about a tablespoon. And also add a little salt and pepper if you want. There it is. I think it looks great. And you serve that on a piece of garlic bread. Oh, it's so good. It's the best thing about summer is fresh garden tomatoes. I'm just going to add a little olive oil and saute these onions and red peppers. Took out the sauteed vegetables, and now I'm going to fry my hamburger. It doesn't take very much. This is probably half a pound. Flavoring, not the main course. Once the hamburger's cooked, you can add your vegetables back in. Now, a lot of people will cook their hamburger and their vegetables at the same time. To me, if you just take that added step of cooking the vegetables alone, I think it makes it much better. Now we're going to add our tomatoes. And I have so many tomatoes out of the garden right now that I'm using fresh tomatoes, but you don't have to. You could just add a can of any kind of diced tomatoes. Those tomatoes are starting to cook down, so I'm going to add just a little bit of water in there. It's probably about a third. I'm going to add some tomato paste to make it a little bit thicker, but I don't need this whole can. A whole can would make it too thick, so maybe just a tablespoon or 2. That was probably about half a can, and even that's an awful lot. And then you're always like, what do I do with the rest of this can? Put it in your refrigerator until you throw it away. I'm not going to go too crazy on the seasoning. I'm going to add just a little bit of dried basil. I've got fresh, but I'm going to use this. And a little bit of oregano. And we're about ready to add the secret ingredient. If it seems like it's getting too thick, you can always add just a little bit more water. Those tomatoes are cooking down nicely. Now I'm going to add some salt. And this is, kosher flaky salt. But that's not the secret ingredient. I usually add a little bit of pepper, but not a lot. And in case you don't know by now, the secret ingredient is almost always sugar. And if you look at a commercial spaghetti sauce, it's got a lot of sugar in it. That was probably about a tablespoon. You don't want to go too wild with that sugar. We're about there. Now, if you want a little bit spicy, you can add red pepper. I don't like it spicy. Finally, I add just a little bit of garlic. If you don't like garlic, leave it out. I've put this tomato paste in a baggie, and I'm going to put it in my refrigerator. Usually what happens is it dries out and I throw it away. So give me your ideas. What can we make out of leftover tomato paste? We've got lots of gorgeous tomatoes from my garden. These little cherry kinds. So I'm going to cut some up for the Caesar salad. Step 1 to making homemade croutons is just cutting up the bread into little tiny crouton size shapes. Now I got this off the clearance rack, and this bread will work great. I've cubed up the bread. I just got home and it's 6 o'clock and I'm gonna get these croutons made. So what makes them so good is this, a stick of butter. And we're gonna melt the stick of butter and pour on there. I'm gonna go ahead and grill this bread for the bruschetta tonight. I'm just gonna put a little Italian herb seasoning. These are actually herbs I grew last year. So it's mostly oregano, basil, sage. And we're gonna pour it over the bread. Now, as you pour it, you're gonna wanna kind of keep tossing this. So I'm gonna pour a little and then toss it and then pour some more. Now we're just gonna put them on a cookie sheet and lightly toast them in the oven. I'm gonna do about 375. Man, those look good. Wait till they're toasted. Oh, these are looking good, looking really good. Doesn't take very long. But it is better if you can kind of toss them at least once while they're toasting. Oh, those are almost perfect. Don't forget them. And there's the finished product. Oh, those look so good. I wish you could taste them. And now I'm just gonna take a few, oh, they're still hot, and put them on the Caesar salad. Now what makes these so yummy is they get crunchy on the outside, but they're still soft in the center. And I've had people who have told me they don't like croutons, and then they'll have a homemade crouton and they're like, oh yeah, I like croutons. Because they're just nothing like store-bought croutons, and they're so simple to make. So if you're having company or something, make croutons. They're so easy and people think you're a gourmet. Oh, that bruschetta looks so good and it smells delightful. Right before you serve it though, you want to drain off all that liquid. The tomatoes have been marinating for a couple hours, so they've got the flavor. Now I just have to drain the spaghetti, and I've already got the toast made, and I think we're about ready to go. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. I'm not very good at showcasing food in a picture, but I think you get the idea. Delightful. Well guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. I haven't been able to cook much because of all the storm damage. Me and John Wayne, we have been cleaning up like crazy, picking up sticks. So tune in. I'm gonna have a farm update soon. I'll tell you all about it. Have a great day.